And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to News from the Pew, where the internet breaks and we try to fix it. We don't really try to fix it. It just is what it is.
I'm out of glue.
Huh?
I'm out of glue.
Yeah, I don't want to fix it because then we have stuff to talk about. But yes, and I guess we are deciding that we want to go up against El Rundowno. So that's fine. Or we'll be your pregame for the rundown, I guess. How about that? Either way, it's all good, ladies and gentlemen. I am Rick Barrett, the Armed Papist. Yet it is official. I am the Armed Papist, and I am happy to be joined by the one and only Census Fidelium's Stephen Cunningham. And we have things to discuss, to talk about, to do, and let's get to it, my friend. A lot of Trump worship this week. I'm sure we're going to see a lot of Trump worship all over the place in certain places, and it just doesn't get old. The worship of El Trumpo is getting to levels that even I, Steve, did not think was possible, and Vance as well. And all of these things that are going on in the world. And where do you want to start, Steve? We are literally all over the place. And since Steve put all the links together, it's kind of his show, and I just say things.
Well, you brought up Trump and things going on with him. I have a video was this past week.
אני אומר לכם, אנחנו שם. זו תוכנית שקורמת עור וגידים. יש פעולה עכשיו מול הממשל, אני באופן טבעי לא יכול להיכנס לפרטים. לאתר את המדינות, לאתר את האינטרסים של המדינות עם ארצות הברית.
What about the president's plans to expel Palestinians out of Gaza? Are you discussing that with him and giving him your...
Nobody's expelling any Palestinians. I don't know. Who are you with?
I'm with Voice of America.
Who are you?
Oh, no wonder.
איתנו לייצר את אותו שיתוף פעולה. יש הערכות להקמת מנהלת הגירה גדולה מאוד במשרד הביטחון, כי בסוף זה מבצע לוגיסטי ענק. רק כדי לסבר את האוזן, אם נוציא 10,000 איש ביום, 7 ימים בשבוע, זה לוקח חצי שנה. אם נוציא 5,000 ביום, זה לוקח שנה.
So the other thing, he said he's not deporting anybody now or moving anybody. And somebody had a great one in the comments. He pulled a Brandon. Trump turned into Biden. He forgot what he was saying. Either he forgot or he thinks everyone's stupid and the internet doesn't exist because,
none of these guys think the internet doesn't exist. It's like this the only person that gets it is JD Vance, and that's because Peter Thiel tells him. But everybody else
has to know. With
Thiel, he has to know. But everybody else doesn't understand the internet. Trump's just like, he understands True Social, but outside of True Social, he doesn't understand anything. And it's kind of nuts that
for him to say that we're not getting rid of anybody. What was the Gaza?
You literally said you were going to take it. You posted a video
for weeks.
That it was going to happen, but now it's no. Now we've changed our mind. I mean, this is the great Trump that people forgot about in 2016 through 2020. He would say things and be like, "What are you talking about?" Nope, I did not say that. Here's the video, Trump. Oh, that's doctored. It's fake news. You're fake. You're fake news. No, but whatever. Maybe somebody was like, Trump, you can't kick people out of Gaza. Well, guess what? No, we're not. It's fine. Yay, it's done. Yeah. No, dude. Ryan, we're having fun with you, man. We're happy that you guys are back, and I'm sure you guys are going to crush it as always, and we look forward to it. You're not competing. We're all in the same plane, brother. You're good. We love it, and we're happy that you guys are back. So go get them. Go get them tonight. We know you guys are going to do great. And so it's like Trump is Trump, and he's just all over the place. He's a ping pong ball. Instead of focusing, Steve, I'm just going to say this real quick. Instead of focusing on like the economic wins, like inflation is supposedly down, the price of eggs are down, the price of gasoline is down. He chases these white rabbits all over the place, and it's just foolish, man.
Well, yeah, all that stuff's down. Inflation's still going up, but everything else is down. Well, he said that they were going to get rid of spending. Remember that? And this was it Sunday?
You said you wanted to do the Golden Dome. You've got a lot of ideas for America. But then earlier you said you wanted to cut $1 trillion in defense spending, right?
I didn't say I was.
You're not going to. So I was like, which is it? Are you cutting defense spending or are you building us up?
I never said defense spending.
Okay, because I think you were talking about denuclearization.
Correct.
And that's where the cutting of the spending came in.
I never said.
let me help you spin this to the right way.
God, no, it's not in these days. I'd love to cut defense spending, but not now. Because you have China, you have Russia,
Yeah,
you have a
let's
lot
get
of
to that,
problems out there.
Yeah, these
No.
problems.
In fact,
No,
this-
what I have said is we spend a lot of money on nuclear missiles, nuclear weapons. The level of destruction is beyond anything you can even imagine. It's just bad that everybody has to spend all this money on something that if it's used, it's probably the
You're
end of the
right.
world.
wow.
Wow. look at her face at the end.
Wow. Ooh. Oh, magnificent Trumpo. Thank you for allowing this is all Wayne's World, man. This is all Wayne. We're not worthy. We're
Well,
not worthy.
just to add on the,
We're not worthy.
He said, but not doing it. I'm not doing what I said. You know what? I voted for this, the hashtag that's going around.
Yep.
Here's more. Trump says we can't cut U.S. spending. Obviously, that we just said that because we got to get that Iron Dome for America. That's gonna be cheap.
Yep. It's gonna be great.
Pausing. Remember, everyone said, "Oh yeah, he's ending." That's why I voted for him. Ending Ukraine. No, we're pausing the aid for Ukraine. The world should, as the article, as Ted says, the world should have seen it coming, because here, Trump wants Zelensky to move towards elections to restart U.S. military aid and intel sharing. So we want Z-Man to just step aside, move down to Miami, where it's nice and hot, and $1,000 car, $100,000 cars. Everybody's got them, as Will Smith says, and let's get that price. Let's get the cash rolling again to Ukraine. But you don't see the cheerleaders bringing that on. They're more talking about other things. But the pause. We want no more money going to Ukraine. No more across the board. Everyone said that. He even said it. It's just a pause. Just wait 2 weeks. They won't even know what's going to happen.
Yep. Because there'll be another rabbit to chase. There'll be something else that there'll be another distraction to happen. They were hoping it was going to be the government shutdown, but apparently Chuck Schumer's like, yeah, we're not going to do that because Thomas Massie was right, and it is agreed upon, and we did it right, and so forth. But yeah, the whole thing in Ukraine, and Steve, and I don't know if you caught this today. He mentioned Greenland. He's like, yeah, we're probably going to take Greenland. Yeah, we're probably going to take it. Yep. And I know you saw this. They were drawing up plans for the military to go after Panama Canal if they need to take it by force. So
just because you brought that up, I got
the great expansion, Steve. It's happening. We're gonna have the fighting Palestinian Gaza hockey team in 2 years. So
that video was just playing in the background. You can't hear it, but that was 4 days ago. When we want the minerals get back, we want to get the aid back, and that was NBC reporting that. I mean, it's everywhere. It's easy to find if you want to look for it. But here's Panama Canal.
The president told me about his next conquest, the Panama Canal. After news this week that an American company, BlackRock, will acquire two.
Did you hear that?
The conquest? Yeah.
After news this week that an American company, BlackRock, will acquire 2 ports operating around the Panama Canal from.
Now, we talked about that last week. Maybe it was the last week or the week before. Whenever
last week we called it. We were like, hey, who did it? Oh, that's right. It was BlackRock.
Yeah, we brought it up last week that BlackRock was going to be it.
Hong Kong-based C.K. Hutchison for $23 billion.
China essentially had it. It was a China-based company. I'd much rather deal with BlackRock than a China-based.
He'd much rather deal with
Why
BlackRock.
not? Might as well. Why couldn't it be Palantir? Right? Why couldn't it just be Palantir?
They're involved. Don't worry. Don't worry.
I know. I don't want to put the cart before the horse.
Thiel's involved. I'd rather not have China do it. So I'd rather have BlackRock. Wasn't BlackRock the one that we didn't want anybody to deal with the last 4 years? Last 8 years, heck, the last 12. No, we don't want BlackRock. Get BlackRock out. Now we're making
used
deals.
To be a word that Steve Bannon would throw out, that Jack Bosebic would throw out to kind of be like, well, guys, you got to watch out for that BlackRock oligarchy because they're going to come in and they're going to make you eat the bugs and live in the pod. And now Trump's like, BlackRock's beautiful. I love them. They're great. They're my buddies. I'd rather deal with them. So go in the pod. And yeah, that's exactly what people will do. It's exactly what people will do. And it's crazy. Look at Maria Bartolomeo, whatever her name is talking about it like it's a conquest.
Uh-huh.
Like he is Napoleon. and he is conquering all the things, and he is marching across and taking things over like the great American empire that we are again, Steve. Make America an empire again.
He's brought up FDR quite a few times, or people have brought up that he's looking like a lot of FDR in a sense, and the whole thing with the Panama thing with Teddy, with the first Roosevelt, and now he's doing a lot with FDR in the sense of imperialism, the takeover lands as well.
Oh, and don't forget the Alien Enemies Act that he's talked about.
I'm still confused how a lot of people aren't bringing up. I mean, just how's that not the first thing we respond back to? What about the Kentucky and Virginia nullification acts after they followed the Alien Sedition Acts? Anybody want to bring that up? All because these guys want to name anybody they want a terrorist. Do whatever they want with. Tell you can't say X. That was a month ago we brought that up. They're saying that the whole thing about the anti-Semitic laws that were coming down. We said that's going to be a slippery slope. They're going to say whatever the flip they want to say is anti-Semitic. You're seeing that now. Eventually, they're going to run out of people to go anti-Semitic on. They're going to come after everyone else. As I think Ryan Christian's doing a show right now, literally with a photo. First, they went after whatever the guy's name is right now, who I know if you listen to mainstream media, you would think that's the devil incarnate that they're going after. Or Columbia is ravaged. Columbia University is ravaged with all these people. Here's some, was it last year? I think this a little compilation of the Daily Wire, and I think Glenn Greenwald did this.
Arresting some people across the country, but certainly not enough. Flag burning, pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah, anti-Western radicals.
By the way, I love that there's a line that the facts don't care about your feelings thing right from him.
Taking over these campuses.
Come have some matzah. Come have some matzo ball soup. We're having a great time. We got plenty.
Those are really IEDs.
Yeah.
Meatballs.
To go for everyone. And we'll be out here having a really lovely holiday.
As Passover week begins, a group of Jewish and non-Jewish protesters have
They're passing out fentanyl right now.
Gathered at the university to celebrate.
There's nowhere else I should be for Passover besides here on campus.
If you are shouting about the Yehud, that's a pretty good indicator that anti-Semitism is being engaged in.
Passover is the story of our escape from slavery in the land of Egypt. And I think we need to recognize that on Passover, it's important to stand up for oppressed people everywhere, whether they're Jewish or not. I had seen so many statements online about how Jews weren't safe, about how Columbia had turned into a hotbed of anti-Semitism. Each of those statements further galvanized me to use my voice and my privilege as a Jewish person to come here and have a Seder with all of these lovely people.
This News from Pew is not telling anybody to do a Seder. This is just showing evidence of what's going on.
Again, an environment of anti-Semitism has clearly been created on campuses like Columbia University.
There were also many non-Jewish students who joined the Seder, and we're a little bit hesitant about whether they should eat matzah or not. We told them it was okay, you can try some matzah. It was really a beautiful thing to see in the middle of the pro-Palestinian.
In America is just keep doing it, don't give up. We are doing exactly the same, and in the long term, we are going to prevail. I'm out from the beginning at every march. A small group of survivors and descendants of survivors. We stand repeated in the last few demos, carrying placards hanging from the neck, saying this survivor of the Holocaust is against the genocide in Gaza.
Flag burning, pro-Hamas, pro-Hezbollah, anti-Western radicals taking over these campuses.
And we also demonstrate against the conflating of Jewishness with Zionism, which is what the Israeli state is trying to do, which does nothing else but increases anti-Semitism. So we are trying to counter that by demonstrating that Jews and Holocaust survivors are against that.
These screaming teenagers intimidating Jewish students on campus and waving Hamas flags.
We have tremendously warm reception and appreciation from the typical members of the march. We get handshakes and hugs, and some people stand and some women
This reminds me of
cry
that from Team
seeing the
America
placards.
when they were talking about going to Cuba, and then there's like, it was all roses and petals, and everybody was happy.
Did I say death camps? I meant happy camps.
I meant happy camps. What are you talking about?
That goes on for quite some. That's like an 8-minute video, but you get the idea. I mean, you got I forget his name. I try not to try to think of him what Mr. Truth Guy.
There's a bunch of those.
Well, no, him. But we just had on. What was his name? The Daily Wire head king.
Oh, Shapiro.
Shapiro, Ben.
Yeah.
I tried not to remember his name.
Facts, Mr. Facts Feelings guy.
Yeah. Yes. You got him over there saying, "Hey, these guys are a bunch of they hate everyone. They're shooting. They're it's an evil group there. And then you look at what's going on. Hey, no. It's just like a little kumbaya fest that's going on. Again, hey, anybody in the chat, we're not saying go do a Seder. Just showing the evidence of one side saying, look at all these barbarous terrorists that are over at Columbia University. And then literally a guy that was in the Holocaust saying, yeah, we don't stand for what these guys are doing.
Yeah. It's just very interesting how they found they focused on like that one dude. And then I have not kept track of the story because I don't care. But apparently there was one student that they arrested and they're deporting or because he said stuff and they're just making an example out of him. That's essentially what they're doing.
There's a one video that's about 5 hours long that gets into most of it. Here's a couple things. Jeremy Shahil wrote the level of ignorance surrounding Trump's attempts to smash free speech, critical of Israel's astonishment. The First Amendment does not only protect the speech of U.S. citizens and does not contain any exceptions of speech critical of specific nations. I mean, you know us. We're not going to say that it's free speech is we're not absolutists or it goes to the ice where to halt them back. I mean, literally 1A says Congress shall not, and that goes for all of them, all the first 10.
Now, of course, you have state constitutions.
Yeah,
state constitutions can have freedom of speech clauses and so forth, but then there's the public-private barrier. Of course, real quick, Steve, let me get into this. That gets into the fact that colleges should not be funded by the government.
Right.
There was this whole big hubbub we talked about on my show about the $400 million in grants that Columbia was losing because they were participating in free speech violations or whatever that whole thing that was going down. There shouldn't be $400 million in grants going to a place that gets $17 billion in endowments. And there shouldn't be any funding. There shouldn't be any kind of public-private mess. And the fact is, they say, "Oh, public colleges." Not when this Rhode Island College where I went to, D3 school, got $16 million in endowments. There's no reason anybody should be taking a student loan for government money, but that also gets wound into this whole free speech narrative, Steve. That's what I was trying to tie it into, is the fact that, you violate the free speech, then the government's going to take your money away. And it's, they pick and choose what free speech is good. Like if they go after Catholics on these campuses and they ban those kinds of things, that's fine. You go after these people, we're taking your money from you. We're taking your money from you, and you may be labeled as a domestic terrorist because, the Israelis are at war with the Palestinians and with the Alien Act, and now we can kind of rope all these things in. And then you have the Patriot Act as well. Folks, this is a web that is waiting to be brought down around your neck and tighten like a noose.
And with the Patriot Act, they can tell anybody's a terrorist, hold them indefinitely for whatever reason, to violate any law they want to do, violate any civil right, any of that, just because of the blank check that he got.
Yep.
Thought this was a great quote that he has. The due process is one of the core tenets of a democratic society. By the way, Abraham Lincoln got rid of due process for a lot of people that he threw in jail just because he wanted to.
Yep.
The president is not an emperor who can unilaterally declare people guilty of a crime. I love this line. The president is not the Queen of Hearts in Alice in Wonderland. If you want him to be, then try to amend the Constitution, which you don't have to because the Anti-Federalists called it, saying that you guys, what you got brewing right here will become an elected monarch in the not so distant future, and not even 100 years later. Yelling, the students support Hamas is not a legal argument nor a conviction. If someone commits an act that is covered under the criminal statute, then there is process for dealing with that. And it involves evidence, a criminal indictment, defense lawyers, right to free trial, all that stuff. As someone else wrote, I'll give you $1,000. Where's the evidence of this guy saying anything you guys are saying about? Ryan Grimm, anyone who objects to a perfectly reasonable decision to cut off electricity to 1.7 million people will have their immigration status investigated and will be detained at the will of the government. Thank you for your attention to this matter. What happened was March 9th, breaking. Israel cuts electricity at Gaza's key desalination plants. Again, it's a war crime going on over in Gaza because of and you're just, if you say anything about it, you're done.
By the way, I'm going to throw this in there because it gets everybody upset. The only person, one of the only few people on the world stage, even from his hospital bed, to call this out, your Pope Francis. The only one to continually bring light to that.
Yeah, leader. Well, there are guys, there are some other national leaders you just don't hear about in the States that are called out. I mean, Ireland is called out. Everything is ethnic cleansing and a war criminal, Netanyahu, things like that. There's been smaller groups. I want to say even France and Italy is even called that. But you're not going to hear it over here unless you're searching for it, watching all media, things like that. You're not going to know. You'll see we know about Pope Francis because we're Catholic. We have Catholic news sites we follow, and they're going to report on it. But you're not going to see. I'm surprised Elon even lets it up on the site for anybody to see.
I mean, it doesn't get enough because a lot of people don't cover it in depth. I think it doesn't bother him. It doesn't get traction to the level that it would be worrisome.
Yep. There's just more. USDA cancels $1 billion in local food purchases for schools, food banks. But hey, no, Trump does. U.S. moves to expedite delivery to $4 billion in military aid to Israel. And that was back when we were saying, anybody want to call that out? Because definitely no one is saying a word about it.
Yep. Because as we've said, and I know some of y'all are going to get tired of it, there is the DJT orbit and it's full of money. And if you question these things, you will not get access to said money, or you will not get access to the privilege of being the MAGA inherent. Because right now there's JD Vance, Palantir, then you've got Trump Jr., who's saying he's not, but he probably is. And I don't know if Steve caught this. Steve Bannon is now floating his name out there for 2028 because a guy who dresses like a homeless man might as well run for president as well. And so it's this idea that what do all three of those guys have in common? With all three, they're all in the DJT orbit and they all push his agenda. So they're all trying to access that same spout of cash.
Oh yeah, we got who else is doing that? I got a video on Gruesome Newsom. He's throwing his hat in guarantee.
Oh yeah, we talked about his podcast. His podcast. Big Mike has a podcast too now that nobody watches, but it's not about watching, folks. It's about establishing a digital footprint. So when they run, they can say, "Oh, I'm not an extremist. I talked about it here, or I talked about it there."
Good old Rahm Emanuel. He wants to get involved.
Yeah. Well, right now, the Democratic Party, because you cut off all the money from USAID and all that stuff, it's in complete and total disarray. They have no idea who's leading.
Oh, that's going to be
party.
What was it? Was it after Trump's first run? They had like 15 people up on stage. It was like, who wants to be in? Come on up.
America's next president, and it went to the old guy because none of them were likable. You got Pete Buttigieg up in Michigan. He's not running for the Senate seat because he's trying to put himself in a spot to throw his hat in his name in the ring for the 2028 run. So we'll see how that goes.
It's all about winning because they don't care about anything. It's just winning. So that's why they're talking about 2020. It's a month. Yes, it's a month into 2025 or 2 months into 2025 or 2 months into the 4-year term. I mean, who knows? Maybe he will pull an FDR and get himself 4 more years afterwards. We don't know. It's, this year, the
entire MAGA movement will be fine with it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, we got more on that.
Let me just say this real quick before you move on. If Trump can give the illusion, and I'll wrap this up real quick, with inflation going down and the price of eggs going down and the price of gas supposedly coming down and the thing he's floating out that he wants to get rid of taxes for anybody making under 150,000, he could easily position himself for another term. And if the economy is good enough, most of the country would be like, yeah, whatever, everything's fine. We don't, it'd be fine about, doing a third term because everything's running right. So
I had that link. Since you brought it up, I could have sworn I had that up, but yeah,
you do have 400 links up, so it is.
Well, you brought up that 150 thing. He mentions about anybody making it. No, I know who it is. I forgot. Yes,
I have the video. If you don't have it.
First off, let me get to them. Then I'll get to that guy.
Yeah,
there's a reason why. Good, thank you for that. Put that up.
Mm-hmm. Well,
let's get to terrorist stuff. This is going on all the airways right now.
Now is Louisiana Senator John Kennedy. Senator, the Trump administration, are they right on this, or is this just a purist free speech play, and this man deserves his free speech rights wherever they take us?
They're right. The ACLU is defending Mr. Khalil. They say this is a freedom of speech case. I support freedom of speech. How else would we know who the idiots are without freedom of speech? This case is not about freedom of speech. It's about civilized behavior. It's about national security. It's about terrorism.
Patriot Act.
Mr. Khalil is not an American citizen. He's here with a green card. By word and deed, at Columbia, he's shown that he supports Hamas. That's a violation of the Immigration and Naturalization Act, which says you can be deported if you support a terrorist organization. Here's the bottom line. Mr. Khalil hates America, as you said in your monologue. If you're not happy where you are, move.
That's the typical line. You don't like America,
you don't like America, you leave.
Remember what you said about find the idiots?
Because we're losing a lot of people because of the internet. And we have to do something. We have to go see Bill Gates and a lot of different people that really understand what's happening. We have to talk to them, maybe in certain areas, closing that internet up in some way. Somebody will say, freedom of speech.
He's such a boomer.
People. We have a lot of foolish people.
And I think you should get a 1-year jail sentence if you do anything to desecrate the American flag. Now, people will say, it's unconstitutional. Those are stupid people. Those are stupid people that say that.
Directly contrary to the United States foreign policy. That's the Secretary of State. That's in charge of the Secretary of State. We consider a national security threat. When you're on campus and they say, I hear freedom of speech, freedom of speech, freedom of speech. Can you stay in a movie theater and yell fire? Can you slander somebody verbally? Free speech has limitations, but when you go to a college campus, you incite protesting and locking down and taking over buildings and damaging property and handing out leaflets for Hamas, who is a terrorist organization.
And I'm kind of glad I've been playing the ones to make sure they say, and taking out Hamas stuff, because let's bring up, what is it, Hamas, where's the video I have on? Here's Dr. Ron Paul on Hamas.
Hamas, if you look at the history, you'll find out that Hamas was encouraged and really started by Israel because they wanted Hamas to counteract Yasser Arafat. And you say, well, yeah, that was better then and served its purpose, but we didn't want Hamas to do this. So then we as Americans say, well, we have such a good system, we're going to impose this on the world. We're going to invade Iraq and teach people how to be Democrats. We want free elections. So we encourage the Palestinians to have a free election. They do, and they elect Hamas. So we first, indirectly and directly through Israel, help establish Hamas. Then we have election. Then Hamas becomes dominant, so we have to kill them. It just doesn't make sense.
To have external revenue. The way
Because Rick just brought up the $150 limit on tax.
150,000. Come on, 150,000.
We all are so used to paying taxes. We're so used to it. We have like Stockholm syndrome. Don't stop the Internal Revenue Service, God forbid. How about this? The rest of the world leans on our economy, breathes off our economy. Not only is our economy $29 trillion GDP, but we consume $20 trillion a year. We are the buyer of everybody's stuff. We buy everybody's stuff. So who's more important? The people who sell stuff or the people who buy stuff? So we are the buyer of everybody's commodities, products, goods and services. Everything comes from us, right? Let them pay. a membership fee. We all understand that model. Let them pay. How about we, you and I?
Now, who was that guy?
Howard Lutnick. Howard Lutnick is the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald investment firm and has become a vocal proponent for Bitcoin in the last couple years. Trump recently nominated him to be U.S. Commerce Secretary. Lutnick is also an investor in Strive Asset Management, which was founded by Vivek Ramaswamy. Peter Thiel, the Founders Fund, and J.D. Vance's Narya Capital also contributed to Strive's $30 million funding round. Lutnick is also part owner of video platform Rumble, founded by Chris Pavlovski. In December 2021, Pavlovski announced his intention to take Rumble public by combining forces with CF Acquisition Corp., a division of Lutnick's Cantor Fitzgerald. Lutnick was also formerly a neighbor to Jeffrey Epstein in New York City and raised millions of dollars for Hillary Clinton's 2016 presidential campaign. Lutnick has spoken at the World Economic Forum's various meetings as far back as 2016 and as recently as January 2023.
Just one, yeah.
It's all connected, man. It's all connected.
The spider web is amazing.
Yep. All connected.
But focus on the terrorist.
Yeah.
Terrorist.
Yep.
The
terrorist is going to win.
Find who a terrorist is.
Got to find the terrorists. Might as well be George W. Getting after them terrorists because they said bad things about another country, our favorite country, the best country ever.
Here's our girl that's never lied to us at all in the last 2 months.
Nope.
The president has said this is the first of many.
Remember the condoms?
Like this. Does the administration have a rough estimate of how many arrests you're planning to make similar?
I don't have an estimate. I do know that DHS, based on very good intel that they have gathered at the direction of the president's executive order, which made it very clear to the Department of Homeland Security that engaging, as I said, in anti-American, anti-Semitic protests will not be tolerated. So since the president signed that executive order and since Secretary of Known has taken the oath at DHS, they have been using intelligence to identify individuals on our nation's colleges and universities, on our college campuses, who have engaged in such behavior and activity, and especially illegal activity. And so I don't have a readout on how many arrests will come, but I do know that DHS...
Just whatever. I forgot about that part. First off, the first guy, Kennedy, he gets $210,000 from IPAC. Where did I have it at? Oh yeah, 70% of Israelis want Netanyahu.
I heard that they love him now, though, because of the war, man. I thought everybody loved Netanyahu.
No, those guys hate him.
Well, they loved him. He's like Elon Musk likes him. He just gave him a Tesla or something.
Well, yeah, our guys love him.
I think he's great. I'm Benjamin Netanyahu. I was at he was poolside with Trump in his little video. I mean, come on, everybody loves Netanyahu. He's so good. Everybody likes Netanyahu. But
I'll find it again. It was what the article was it far right or some right leaning right groups are putting together this platform to figure out who is the terrorist.
The terrorists?
And they're using it as kind of a way to as their little money thing, their Christmas list or whatever. There's groups out there putting stuff together to find and target who they don't want anymore. What they're doing is they're going to find out who the enemy is or their enemy is, silence them, and get rid of them. They already a couple weeks ago we talked about deplatforming your bank. They already put the EO. Every time you heard her say EO about 5 times. I mean, government by executive to executive government. I mean, you're elected monarch.
You're elected king.
You're a king. He edicts, you're done. As the queen of hearts, off with your head type deal. He gets to say who's to die. We want him gone. And apparently that one guy, I mean, again, I don't have a thing in a fight on that. I have no idea if that guy comes up and slaps me upside the head. But to have ICE and them come after him, apparently he's a husband with a pregnant wife or pregnant somebody. I don't know what the deal is.
Yeah.
But to put up the charges on him, as I said, there's no evidence on any of this. By the way, we're going to throw you out. Do what? What's to stop them to do that to anybody else?
That's y'all. And the thing is, they're just cheering it on. They're just so excited because we're going to get rid of the illegal aliens, Steve. That's all this is for Forget about the whole, we don't want, forget about the ramifications down the line, because the Patriot Act was only supposed to target Muslims, and then it was turned around to target Catholics, 15, 20 years later. And of course, whistle past the graveyard on that sucker, because everybody's like, nah, it's not going to happen again if you, invoke the Alien Enemies Act. Who is an alien enemy? Well, whoever we're at war with. Well, do we have any declarations of war right now, Steve? We haven't had an actual declaration of war in a while. And, with the continuing use of force, the use of force authorization, the UMEF or whatever, the use of continuing force, whatever the case may be, it's just they can literally attack or go after whoever.
What you mentioned about one thing being done and then the other team coming in.
Yeah, 9/11.
Right now, the Trump DHS is launching a new self-deportation app for illegal immigrants, giving those in the U.S. illegally an incentive to cooperate. And Bill Mallusion is live in L.A. with more. Hi, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Dana, good morning to you. So this is pretty
Look remarkable. At my hair.
The Trump administration has taken that controversial CBP-1 cell phone app for migrants that the Biden administration was using, and they've repurposed it into a self-deportation app that is officially launching today. And we're getting...
So Brandon organization puts this in. I remember when it came out, but Trump's team comes in, takes that, and turns it to something else.
What a shock.
Yeah.
What?
Everything they do is teeing it up for the next group to come in. You're not even hearing from the Brandon people about this. Maybe it's okay for them because it's all the same team.
All the same team, man. Like Massie said, it's all the same group. It's all uniparty stuff. And so, yeah, why wouldn't they just do what they're doing? Why wouldn't they be? And what I'll say it again in case you're new here. Steve and I said they were going to put Trump in for one reason, so they can do all of this stuff and everybody's going to wave the American flag while they do it. Everybody think little old Rick crazy. Not in this case. I'm 100% on the money with this one. On the money. The deep state allowed Trump to win. That's why they called it at 11 o'clock on November. They didn't even let this thing go to midnight. They're like, yeah, no, it's done. It's done. Trump won. Trump won. He won. All right, start the process.
Here's that article. The far-right group building a list of pro-Palestinian activists to deport. It's by The Intercept.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because that won't be used against you anytime soon. Because the government would never, ever use a program against citizens.
I don't know what you're talking about. Why would you think so?
Somebody actually brought this up in the chat where Charles Lohner, he's echoing points that we brought up like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but they're good because it actually under the Bitcoin's going to become CBDC. That's why they established the Bitcoin reserve. Think about this, guys. Once, let's say they do get rid of the 150,000. I know I might be late on this. I know Steve was trying to tee me up before. Let's say, yeah, you're going to get your, you don't have to pay taxes on it if you use Bitcoin. You get your paychecks in Bitcoin, and then you don't have to pay taxes. You can use all that. You qualify for this law, and now we've transitioned people seamlessly to some kind of central digital bank currency.
In a sense, yeah, because here was it Friday? Last Friday, we were on Thursday. So Friday they had the Bitcoin, the crypto conference
summit, the summit or whatever it was.
Those is wearing gold.
So today, when President Trump has signed the executive order to establish the strategic Bitcoin reserve and stockpile, we're going to position the United States as a leader among nations in the digital asset strategy. It's important for the United States to recognize this fact and get ahead of the other nations in the digital age.
You got to get ahead of that CBDC.
We followed the president's direction to use the digital assets already in possession of the nation, and we are going to establish this Bitcoin reserve. We use this authority to augment the asset side of the United States balance sheet. As I've said many times, President Trump is creating assets for the American people while most past presidents have created debt. And a large part of this asset program can be in digital assets. We are going to end the regulatory weaponization against digital assets. The Biden administration's actions did nothing other than punish innovators, and that all of you have made it here today is really a testament to your fortitude. Much of Treasury's responsibility in this order relates to the tax code and determinations around risk weightings, and I'm here to assure you that we are going to work with the Controller of the Currency, the IRS, and we're going to rescind and amend all applicable previous guidance. And we are going to put a lot of thought into the stablecoin regime, and as President Trump has directed, we are going to keep the U.S. the dominant reserve currency in the world, and we will use stablecoins to do that.
That's the stablecoin. That's the, because everyone's going to say he wrote the EO going after CBDC. Yes, stablecoin is going to be the CBDC. And as Phoebe says, I like fiscal money. The problem is not the DC, the digital currency. The problem is the CB, the central bank part, the government doing it. I mean, because if it was decentralized, like Bitcoin is supposed to be decentralized, and now that they're reserved, they're like hoarding it like gold in a sense. And then, like you said, they're going to just take it over like gold. Brought up the FDR, like they're going to, like he did, would take over the gold and put it on the dollar stand. He's going to take over the Bitcoin in a sense and put it on something else.
Well, think about this, and I've been saying this for years, as I usually have been. Everybody was always saying Bitcoin's a great place to put your money because, you know, the government's not involved and it's a hedge against inflation. And so I always tell people, if Bitcoin was really that valuable, you think the federal government's not going to get their paws into it? Well, Rick, it's deregulated, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay. Yeah, the federal government's going to allow a competing currency to the U.S. dollar.
Yeah.
You are sitting back here. Well, it makes me money. Congratulations. If you want to give me some, I'll make some money before it goes bad too. But the idea that the federal government's going to sit back and let people take hordes of cash and put into something that they have no control over, you got to be a special kind of stupid if you believe that. If you believe, yes, silver and gold is something I have silver. I have a little bit of gold, lots of silver, but that's still something that's within the currency. What?
I have a gold marker.
Yeah, well, I got a fake gold Trump sign.
There you go. Well, in Europe, they're actually doing this.
Lagarde, she's the president of the central bank. It's basically our Fed, and they're all.
I had to pick this one because I knew about it days before Beck did it, and Beck's putting out videos. I can't believe this going. If you listen to all media, you'll be light years ahead of people like Beck.
Yep.
And of the central bank, it's basically our Fed, and they're all the same. Here's what she said, and it's a lot of blah, 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 so I don't know how long I can take it. I'll summarize if I can't take it.
Is pretty much
2
all
whole minutes, but here she is.
Nature doesn't like vacuum. And we started working on the digital euro way back. Actually, when I started my term 5.5 years ago.
Let's remember that for years, Christine Lagarde and everybody else, both here, foreign and domestic, have said that any worry about a CBDC is just a conspiracy theory. They have silenced, they have discredited anyone who warned of the dangers of this. But now, all of a sudden, I guess we all forgot that because now they're ready. And the stakes cannot be higher. I'm telling you, 18 to 48 months, our whole world is going to be different.
Yeah,
they are ready to launch this now, and the stakes for privacy, free markets, and individual liberty, especially anybody who kind of likes the Constitution, they're at risk. Okay,
document.
This is a really dangerous pivot that is going on right now, and
apparently he didn't see the tether argument a couple of weeks ago.
No, I think it should fracture our alliance. Anybody who's advocating for small government, personal freedom, hey, privacy. I don't think you should be in bed and defending those who are going down the road of Europe right now.
Like he does.
Years ago, CBDC, that's central bank digital currency.
Yeah, we know
that's
it
like
is,
Bitcoin, except the point of Bitcoin is bank and say no digital passport ever.
Okay.
I hope you have. I hope you have the Trump video teed up after that. right?
We
need the central exit entry, whatever. We need it so bad. Yep.
The biometric entry-exit visa tracking system, which we need desperately.
They're not going to.
Glenn,
you're never going to
Glenn
see.
not know that exists.
You never.
I mean, he doesn't.
Like
He'll find out in a
They're not
month.
going to say anything because they'll never get an interview again with them.
Nope. In the Trump orbit, what do I say? Let me put in the Trump circle of trust. The Trump circle of trust. And you want to be in the circle. You don't want to be here. You want to be in the circle.
A little bit more about Christina. This is back in 2023. So they were talking about launching it in 2023, actually October of 2023. So again, with this thing, they're wanting to do it this year, 2025, October again. She's also been convicted over payout. She's IMF chief, convicted over payout. And in unrelated news, Dow plunges nearly 900 points, NASDAQ correction territory as the recession fears build. If you watched anything the other day, just glanced at a TV, it was just red, going down. Put your arms up in the air, go, ooh, going down.
Yep. All day. And people will be shocked, Steve, when this happens. They'll be like, I can't believe this happening. What Trump said. Mm-hmm. Hope you like your MAGA. I hope you get your CBDC MAGA. So, yeah.
Well, good old MAGA boy
MAGA
Charlie
coin.
Kirk is already trying to prep up Gruesome Newsom right now.
Yeah, Gruesome Newsom, who's
but I appreciate that. I mean, it's the reason you're here, because I think people need to understand your success, your influence, what you've been up to, and the fact that you're on these college campus tours. And to your point, man, you just open up. I mean, you're like, ask me anything. Challenge me,
whatever.
When did this whole thing
was lower your expectations? You're not going to have the same American dream that your parents would have. And we saw this as an opportunity.
So they go for a while and they're just sit down, the good buddies. But he says that he's one of the most determined guys that he's ever met for. So we talked about that a couple of times.
I've been screaming this from the rooftops that 95%, and I'll say it again, 95% of the male of the voting population doesn't pay attention to politics they pay attention 4 years. They don't do 2. They don't care about midterms. Nobody does. Gavin Newsom is conventionally handsome with a slick smile, and he can roll into little Nebraska towns and he can sweet talk Susie the soccer mom. And they don't care about his he's a handsome guy. Oh yeah, he's a handsome man. I think he'd be great for our country. He seems like a nice guy. And you people are just rolling through and just don't understand.
And again, you're not going to find this in the Jack Pasavic circles. Deporting people at a slower rate than Brandon at this time last year.
Yeah.
Well, we voted for this. That's what you guys want.
Hashtag I voted for this. Hashtag I voted for this. Hashtag I voted for this. Yep. That's it.
Well, here's what's
not there. I am still the humble host of the Dan Bongino show while we wind down the business. I didn't want to leave you cold. They're 2 separate enterprises. Do you guys get where I'm going with this? Bongino, I saw someone in the chat. I thank you, Anita, the best there, say, I'm not there yet till the 17th. Cash has got it. Attorney General Bondi have got it. Bongino rule.
You ain't getting that Epstein.
All I'm asking. I say that as a commentator, not as the soon-to-be FBI deputy director. I want to be clear on that. There's 2 separate roles. All right? Bongino rule. Applies to Bongino, too. Bongino.
Trust the plan.
Bongino. He's like, he looks like he's trying out for like a Dior commercial. Bongino. Trust Bongino.
It's just saying, trust the plan. It's 4 years ago. But hey, they're happy days are back again because where's my boy at? Not my boy.
If you guys will join me, we'll push back. Can we all buy a Tesla? Let's all go buy a Tesla. Get rid of your Pinto, your hatchback, Gremlin, whatever you're driving, and go get a Tesla.
Folks, let me get in there. Well, all right, I'll wait. No, go. Do it all.
President Trump and his administration, and as an act of faith in America,
Tesla is going to double vehicle output in the United States within the next 2 years.
That's a big deal. That's great. Thank you. And by the way, he makes one car. This one I don't understand. This one I don't want, but that's okay. Without a steering wheel. It comes out next year, right?
Yes.
Explain that, please.
Yes. Well, the Cybercab starts production in Texas next year, and it's self-driving. We have so much confidence in the self-driving nature of it that it'll actually not have a steering wheel. It will not have pedals. It'll either self-drive or not drive at all, but it'll self-drive.
President Trump, and I'm going to pass on that particular.
Tesla reported zero federal income tax on $2 billion in U.S. income in 2024. When they're doing this whole stage event, I'm going to buy a Tesla. It's a great product.
Guys, remember when they tried to force you they did the Captain America Winter Soldier. They tried to force you into electric cars, and they realized they can't do that. So now they're going to make Elon the victim, and they're going to tell you, support the billionaire who has government money and government contracts by going out and buying a Tesla. Take your jalopy. Remember cash for clunkers? Y'all remember, take your used car in and go get a brand new, beautiful car. Take your jalopy and go buy a brand new Tesla. You're going to get Republicans leading the charge on electric vehicles, and the Pied Piper will lead the masses to Tesla. And guess what? They don't have to force it. They don't have to do like California and try to force in electric cars by 2030. Most of these MAGA boomer morons will go out and buy them. They'll just go, I got to support Elon Musk. I got to go support him, because if I don't support him, he's not going to be able to fake impregnate a 16th girl. So it's terrible if I don't do this. I got to What are you talking about? You have no obligation to support Elon Musk. None. The man is a billionaire. He's on government contracts. He's going to be fine. He's got 6 companies that the government funds. You think he's lost $140 billion. Congratulations. He's still the richest man on the planet, and he's not going to be suffering. Yeah.
Apparently it's a terrorist attack or something like that on Tesla.
Domestic terrorism.
That's why they don't really care about the climate. It was never about lowering the Earth's temperature, because if you really cared that much, you wouldn't burn an electric car, Senator. What about the terror financing angle to hit them with? I mean, if you're giving money to a group that ends up using it to foment violence against people, why can't you go after Soros if he's funding these attacks?
Oh, we absolutely should. We should absolutely follow the money, and it ought to be traced all the way back to its source. And this is why I say, Jesse, the left has gotten by with this for years. This is a great project for the Department of Justice, and they ought to look at all of it. Who's funding these attacks? Who's funding the campus protests? Which, by the way, all of these campus...
It just feels like it's all self-serving.
And listen, I will throw this out there. The idea of labeling attacks against it as domestic terrorism does fit in within the context of the idea. Domestic terrorism is acts of terror or violence against companies or interests for political motives. Now, are these liberals completely psychotic and going after Tesla for silly reasons? Yes, but they shouldn't. And the thing is, and the reason why I say this is because when they attack the Tesla dealerships, by the way, Oregon is a gun-free zone, and somehow they managed to find guns in Oregon to shoot up these Tesla dealerships. Elon Musk is not affected. It's the guy making $40,000 a year at that place who can't work there. It's the janitor. It's the manager. Those people are getting affected. When you buy the car to support Elon Musk, these guys aren't getting a lot. They may be getting like a tiny commission or whatever. But the whole thing is, like, those people's lives are being ruined, not Elon's. Yeah, he has death threats, but he's been getting... You don't think Elon's got tier 1 guys around him 24 hours a day? He is fine. He's got the finest security on the planet. It's the other people. It's the people at the dealerships that are the hate is being fomented. You know, those people are the ones who are really suffering because of this, not Elon.
Government Motors, anyone?
Yeah, right. Hey, Trump just bought a Tesla, man. He just bought a Tesla. What do you want?
Yeah, government and corporation in bed together doing things. That's not something that we've ever heard of before. There's no word for that one.
Nope. Oh, wait. Let's bring this back, Steve. Remember when Joe Biden was telling you to go buy EVs and he had his EVs on the lawn? He had Jeep and the stupid Hummer that like 3 people in my town are dumb enough to buy. And what did the conservatives say, Steve? Oh, that's bad. It's government motors. You can't do that. That's stupid. That's a conflict of, like you guys are saying in the chat, that's a conflict of interest. Now Elon's there. Buy the Tesla. Buy the Tesla. Elon needs our help. Elon needs our help. You bunch of absolute nitwits.
Get the digital ID going. Everyone buy your remote control Teslas. Get the CBDC going. You ain't leaving 15 minutes from your city.
15-minute cities.
You ain't going anywhere after that. Yep. What do you think you're doing, Kyle?
Yeah.
I don't think you're going. I don't think you're going to, Kyle.
I mean, you have a guy in Elon Musk who has the largest amount of data on American citizens between X, Starlink, and Tesla. The guy's got more. If the U.S. government had the amount of data that Elon Musk has, conservatives would be losing their minds. But I'm a private company, so that's why Gronk works when I use it to do my YouTube descriptions.
And they mentioned that they're open about saying that we want that data, we got to have it, and we do whatever we want with it. And that's why the ethics policy has still not been signed. That DJT has put in effect during his first reign. You don't know who's buying who right now, who's in charge. Or where are they even loyal to? Not that they even care. And I think they just write it down, do it anyways. But now they're even telling you.
Yep, that's just what it is at this point, guys. And it's
look, except Massie, he at least tells you where he's at.
Oh wait, do I need to read that or?
No, I was just showing it.
Because
kind of thing. Is this? Do I even have the right one? Oh yeah, Congressman Massie is an automatic no vote on just about everything. Despite you could have read in Trumpism, but oh well, don't worry about it.
The reason he was a no vote on this, and I covered this too, is that under Kevin McCarthy, under one of those continuing resolutions, he actually got something written into the law, right? The law that we all talk about, that if continuing resolutions are passed, there's a 1% cut in them that automatically takes place. And that's why Massie agreed to it. And Mike Johnson on this one just completely ignored it. That's why he said no, because you were ignoring the cuts that you have to, by law, put into place. But Bongino, and all the other guys were like, Massie doesn't have a plan. Why doesn't he have a plan? He just votes no. He's voting no because he's saying, hey, we had something in agreement and you guys are completely ignoring it. So of course I'm going to vote no on it. But nope, because he's not in lockstep with DJT. And DJT's like, I'm going to primary him. He's like, go ahead. I won with 80% of the vote last time. Do it. Maybe I'll win by 75% of the vote this time.
I think he had 100,000 more votes than Trump did in his area. But
yeah.
You mentioned your boy Bongino.
Yep. Bongino.
But he's definitely wrong on this one. And that's why I don't agree. And I've defended Congressman Massie in the past. You just go back and watch the shows. I don't get emotional about these things. He has been amazing on the January 6th pipe bomber case. Incredible. He is wrong here. I'm sorry, he's wrong. He doesn't have a tactical plan to cut spending. I just gave it to you. Get rid of this CR, deal with it for 3 more months, move on to reconciliation, and fight the fight there where you actually have the numbers. Does that make sense? Anybody disagree with me? If you think that I'm a toolbox and a jerk right now, and you're like, that's just crazy, tell me in the chat. I'm open. All I'm asking you is if you believe that, tell me what your plan is. Tell me what your plan is to get over the Senate filibuster.
I can't tell you. You got the,
if you have it, I'd love to hear it.
He went after, once again, a friend of ours who has earned respect and is probably the most straightforward person in the Congress, except for maybe somebody in the Senate. So, but Thomas Massie earned the wrath of the president because he said, I don't think anybody's going to give me a lobotomy and erase all my memory before the vote comes up. But there's no way I could vote for this. And it wasn't hard to figure out why not. He happened to believe that you're supposed to follow your oath of office. It's no more complicated than that. What I'm annoyed about, and maybe Chris is too, is that why would they pick on this, especially that Trump has made overtures to the libertarian group of people in the Republican Party, because that group is silently growing and being instrumental. And that's reflected in a lot of what they are doing. There's no doubt about it. But the easiest thing to do to survive all that is exactly what Thomas does. He states his position by the way he votes. Everybody knows it, and most of them respect him for it. And to gang up on him and say, well, we got to get rid of him because he's helping the Democrats. You know, it's preposterous. It's so sad to see that.
There's always a problem whenever the Democrats are kicked out of power. And that problem is the Republicans, because the Republicans are huge spenders, often, very often worse than the Democrats. And there's always an excuse, always. So this time they want to just push it to the end of the year. And, by the time that comes along, all you need is another excuse. So Thomas Massie is standing up. He's not going to go along with it this time. This is supposed to be different. We have Doge. And then last night, President Trump came out with this statement that, I mean, it's just so ridiculous. I'll quote some of it.
Speaking of Doge,
people are excited to see the rot that's been exposed by Doge and Musk's efforts. They're shocked to see the spending. They're shocked to see the foreign aid. They're shocked to see the places that this money is going, the things that it's doing. They're shocked to see 300-year-old people getting Social Security checks, right? But the reality is, unless you cut spending, a lot of this is just showmanship. It's just smoke and mirrors. So the real issue is the money that's been appropriated. How can you not spend it? Because when Congress appropriates it, according to the 1974 law, and we'll talk about it in a minute, it has to be spent. And so now we have Congress. I'll put on this first one. We have Congress now has not done its job. It's not passed the appropriations bills. And so we have Speaker Johnson and President Trump, we have to say, pushing for a continuing resolution. Here is the headline of the article that.
Real quick, Massie put this out on March 10th. And remember what Bongino just said? Pass it and then fight for it in reconciliation. Massie, the argument for the continuing resolution in September of 2024 was to fight in December of 2024 after the election. The argument for the CR in December of 2024 was to fight in March of 2025 after the inauguration. The argument for the CR in March 2025 is to fight for it in September of 2025 because we're not ready yet. So the point is, Bongino is saying, pass it now, fight for it later. Well, we've been singing that same tune for the last 3 continuing resolutions. Yeah. So the fact of the matter is, this strategy that all your brilliant political podcasters, Bongino, is telling you about is the same thing they've been doing. It's the same thing. So Massie is saying, we agreed under McCarthy, we do percentage cuts. But no, we're not going to do that anymore because Biden's CR, well, we can't pass that because it's unconstitutional. But the Trump one, which is pretty much the same thing as the Biden one, shut up and be a uniparty. That's what they're telling him. Massie, do you want to be in that circle of trust? Do you want to be in the circle of trust? And Massie's like, guess what? The founders created representatives of districts. My district doesn't want me to vote for this continuing resolution. Those are the people I answer to. They don't want me to do it. Now, if everybody else actually had a set and went back to their district and say, hey, do you want me to vote for this continuing resolution? And they said no, they should grow a pair and say, no, DJT, we can't do this because we have the House, the Senate, and the presidency. We should be able to pass a budget. Or we should be able to not just kick the can down the road and wait for Trump to fix it, because we actually have a legislative branch that's supposed to be the most powerful of the 3 branches because it's by, the people. But no, shut your face, get in line, vote for Trump's budget, and then go back and pretend like you don't, well, I had to because if we did it, blah, 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 blah. It's just, and yes, Massie and Rand Paul, the only 2 that actually pretend, and they're both from the great state of Kentucky. Kentucky's got it right.
No, exactly, man. Like I said, smoke and mirrors. You get hey, we did this, we got rid of this. Shock, those tranny monkeys that $3 million billion dollars went to. Yeah, does it bad. Don't tell them we're getting $3.2 million to Israel next. The money not going. It's like that $5,000 check. Hey, we're gonna cut spending. We get everybody $5,000 each. Wait a minute, I thought you said you're trying to balance the budget here. How does $5,000 per 100 million people? How does that make that sense? I mean, and then it goes back to the 150,000 thing a minute ago with that one guy. Is all right. Everyone under 150,000 is going to be tax free. Well, what's it going to take to be 100,000, 150,000 and still be on food stamps? When you go out to Denver, Colorado, you have to make probably that just to get out of the poverty level.
Austin, down in Austin,
yeah.
150,000 is poverty level stuff. You're living in your car if you're making 150,000 there. Are you kidding me?
I mean, I was doing Uber.
You'll still get shot like the InfoWars guy.
I was doing Uber back then, 12 hours a day. I think I pulled in $70K driving net. I was like, I wrote off everything. I think we made like $5,000 or something like that. I filled up every day. There was a low poverty level there. I don't know how we made it.
Mm-hmm.
That was before I was even monetizing the channel. Now everybody's like, I can't believe you monetized. Yeah, just come on. I mean, for 8 years I was, living by crumbs off the table. Can I get a commercial? So anyways, yes, that $150,000 is going to be peanuts in the next year or so. And on top of that, it's going to be CBDC.
Oh, no. Well, see, the good thing is, Steve, is you'll be able to get it in one bill when we pass the, $250 bill with Trump's face on it. You'll just get like 3 of those. And that's how you'll spend your money. When you buy
remember,
bread.
the UBI is in there too. So you'll have the robots take over because plenty of those guys, robots see that one where he was out there cutting the grass.
Yep. The wheat, doing the farming. Yeah. Uh-huh. Yep. Absolutely. So it is what it is. And I'll say it again, because MAGA will just wave the red, white, and blue because Trump's in office. Because Trump is in office, everything's fine. But if Biden does it, or President Big BBL does it, or President Jasmine Crockett, who knows? She could be president someday too at this point. When they do it, it's the end of the world and it's the end of our democracy and we have to keep fighting for it. Okay, but when Massie fights for it, when Rand Paul fights for it, they're traitors to the cause. And that's just how it is in that regard.
Unrelated stuff. Here's a new device. Will let you taste food in virtual reality.
Oh, you mean like the Matrix?
Yes, kind of like that. E-taste. Tries to copy it using a concoction of chemicals pushed through a gel. And just in case you weren't aware, that was a couple weeks ago. This is Popular Science.
Yep.
The
Matrix tells me that this is a delicious, juicy steak.
Yes, I'm not really chewing this steak. My mind is telling me this.
But you know what? Ignorance is bliss.
It is very bliss. You got the blood moon coming up. COP30 is going to destroy most of the Amazon rainforest.
I talked about this. They got to create a super highway to get to the climate summit. Maybe they'll all buy those new Jaguar electric vehicles and drive it on there because they can't drive Teslas.
And things you cannot make up. Canada, by the way, decided to go with a central banker WF puppet, a Bilderberg's steering committee member, to be the new prime minister of Canada. And Dan Dix gets into more of that. Congratulations, Canada. You pretty much got another guy that's probably worse than Trudeau, but it's not Justin. So it's not Fidel Castro's kid. So I guess it's better, but he's still a central banker.
Yeah. Yep.
Did you and your loved ones participate in national or the ban against Ben and Jerry's, which I didn't know anybody was even eating Ben and Jerry's to have a boycott, but apparently Ben and Jerry's came out saying National Abortion Provider Day, Appreciation Day. They stand with it. I don't know why an ice cream factory would do that. And we had a boycott on Twitter that I did. I actually wrote, does anybody actually eat Ben and Jerry's? I mean,
they do in the Northeast.
You do?
Yeah, be huge in the Northeast because they're from Vermont or New Hampshire or whatever.
So yeah, it's not too many. I don't think there's even a store down here. They're in the grocery stores, but it's a good way to do it. Make your own ice cream. Yeah. There's ice cream makers you can get for very cheap And you pour the milk in, get the real milk, get the other ingredients like strawberries, grow your own strawberries. I bet it's better for you.
Yeah, maybe. But then you can't participate in the boycott.
Yeah,
cool. I mean, I'll have Bluebell because I like Listeria and all that stuff, but it's all good. Still worth it.
Oh yeah, forgot about the Philippines made news recently. Did you see this?
Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte has been arrested upon his arrival at Manila's International Airport from Hong Kong. Authorities say the arrest was made in compliance with an ICC warrant where it took aim on the Philippines' war on drugs carried out by Duterte until his term ended in 2022. He advocated a full-scale fight against drug addiction as well as against drug dealers. This comes as the ICC investigates allegations over 6,000 people were killed during the years-long operation. Duterte denied any wrongdoing, noting he faced off with cartels that were heavily armed and he couldn't have succeeded.
He was one of those big-time guys during the lockdowns that was threatening everybody in the Philippines too. But I think he actually called for to shoot people if they were outside.
Well, I mean, that's just, par for the course. Wear that mask, wear that freedom mask. So it is what it is in that regard. So you have that as well. All kinds of great things there, Steve. All kinds. So
super duper.
Are we moving on to? Does that clear us out of the?
Yeah, I got nothing after that. Unless we want to listen to Mark Carney again.
No, I'm good. All right, you want to give me your saint of the week in your cry room?
I'm going to go with the Saints, the state's Saints going over because the push against fluoride is reaching more levels. There's Arkansas.
That's right. Steve's to be a debate at the state capitol. A bill discussed today would give people the option to vote for or against fluoride being in their water. It can get on the ballot through a quorum court vote or a petition. Bill sponsor State Senator Clint Penzo told the committee he believes new research is coming out about how fluoride could be a neurotoxin. He says that this bill leaves the decision up to the people.
Ultimately, this is about giving our constituents a voice on whether or not they want their water supply.
Today's bill passed committee on a voice vote with
also Utah, as aforementioned Rick brought up, thinking I'm going to move to Utah. I'll go to Arkansas before I move to Utah.
Steve's moving to Utah. He's going to be with the Mormons, hanging out.
Utah has become first state to ban fluoride in the public water system. Here's Florida with this was today, I think it was. No, yesterday. Florida Senate panel backs bill to ban fluoride in public water systems. So Florida might be the second. There's a race to the first.
Yeah.
Nebraska has introduced a bill to do away with the mandate that requires certain communities to add fluoride to its water. I think that's it. In other local federalism rules, North Carolina Senate votes to eliminate DEI initiatives in public education. By the way, I do have non-fluoride water here.
Oh, look at you. Look at you, Steve.
Moving on up. I have to use a filter for it, but it's
still it's there. Don't worry about it.
Eventually, I like to turn it on and know that it's not poison. So that's always good.
I just get mine in a can like air, like Spaceballs. So I'm getting my canned air, my canned water. So I'm good. I'm sure there's lining and stuff in here that's bad, but whatever. I got microplastics and everything in me already. So
it's got still plenty of those. They got I'll do a video because I got wait for tomorrow. I have a dead purple metal video out. I got tons of it in the backyard. It's beautiful. It's so
good. So beautiful. So beautiful.
It's better than gold. Who would I be? I guess cry room. I go with the whole fanaticism about the distraction that's going on with the 1A thing, with the wannabe terrorist thing. Someone's a terrorist? Who's a terrorist? Everyone's a terrorist. Those people mindset. one group.
You're a terrorist, and you're a terrorist.
Yeah, we're just throwing out terrorist cards. You're a terrorist. You're a terrorist. Hey, what terrorist group you played with? I played with the Pee Wee League terrorists. Notice there's no terrorists when the United Nations get together, or Bilderberg gets together, or the WEF gets together. They're all over there with Code Pink. All of a sudden, Tulsi's out there saying the worst state, the biggest state in the world right now is terrorism. What the heck? What terrorism is going on? Now they're waiting for the false flag to do something again. Wait, the I-911's coming too.
Yeah, I don't doubt that. You good?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay,
you good?
Yes, I'm just. There was a story out there that from Memphis that came out. A dog accidentally shot his owner. So the owner was that. So it was a pit bull, by the way. So y'all about watch out about that. So the story is that the guy was sleeping with his gun on the bed, and his girlfriend was right next to him. And the dog just happened to jump up on the bed and get his paw inside the trigger guard and get the gun to shoot. My take is the girlfriend saw the gun on the bed, tried to pick it up, accidentally shot her boyfriend, and then blamed the dog. That's what I think happened. But
dog ate your homework. Dog shot my husband.
It says dog accidentally sets loaded firearm, shoots owner while in bed. It was the girlfriend that did it.
I know BP Cock had that in his bingo card. It's the N36, right? It's
yep.
Right there.
But my true cry room this week is Sig Sauer. It's a gun thing. They have this gun called the P320, which has a history of going off. Speaking of accidental discharges, like if you drop it, it goes off in the holster. There are videos and lawsuits about it. And Sig just went, nope, doesn't happen. Never happened. And everybody went, and you can see the community note right there. There's been at least 9 documented incidents of the M17 firing off while with the DOD. And of course, Sig being Sig, they did this on Tuesday. So today they're like, it continues. So they get an official Texas, oh, honey, bless your heart. Just quit while you're ahead on that one. Absolute ridiculously. My saint of the week is this guy who came out with this AI footage, this video of let me see. This is all AI, folks. All AI, and I think it's glorious because this will destroy Hollywood within 4 years. You're going to be able to say Gronk, or while you're in the pod, you'll be able to say, Gronk, I want a movie about the Book of Job. And it's going to do this, and it's going to be even better, and it's going to give you scenes and dialogue and everything. And I love this kind of stuff. Yeah, outlaw AI, get out of here. It's coming. You can't outlaw it. It's done. Why don't you take the approach of let's use it to our advantage and let's create stories for us, and let's make it work for us instead of, the retroactive ban it, because you're not banning it. You're not banning it. So you might as well take it by the horns and use it for your own ends in that regard. So, I mean, that's probably the best Superman movie that's come out in the last 15 years anyway. So
that video is just wow. That's why those protests were happening in Hollywood, because of this. Reeves is dead. They can make movies.
They know the clock is ticking on them.
Yeah.
They know the clock is ticking on them. And I think we should embrace it, and we should take charge of it and use it to our advantage, instead of crying and complaining that it's going to happen. Well, it's going to happen. It's going to. So you either embrace it and use it to spread the gospel and spread the good word, or you can stomp your feet. So I'm going to choose the Fulton Sheen option. The blessed, is he blessed or venerated? Fulton Sheen option on that one. So that's my controversial. You know what? It was either that or Pope Francis, because 12 years ago he was nominated Pope today, just to get you guys upset. He was made Pope today. So either way, I was setting fire to the internet when you guys. So anyway, that's it for this episode of News from the Pew. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Like, subscribe, and share the News from the Pew. We will talk to you all next week. God bless, and Viva Cristo Rey.